Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to episode 15 of the FPL Family. My name is Sam. Lee's sulking.
I'm not coming on. I'm not doing it.
It's not been a good day for Lee
I'm
today.
not doing it. I'm still too emotional. I need to calm down.
I can see the reflection in the mirror, though.
I'm not doing it. What an absolute game that was. Oh my god. I've just been sulking since the end of that game, haven't I? I've had a face like thunder. I don't know where to start. It was awful, wasn't it? It was awful. Without even going into how old my FPL team's done, because that's going to upset me even more, we got to start with that game. Hello guys, how are you? Good evening and welcome to episode 15 of the FPL Family. This was always going to be a bit of a funny one because we've just had Liverpool versus Spurs at Wembley, and by now we all know how that game went. And for the red side of us, it went particularly poorly. And it's still quite raw. I thought you might give me like a few, like an hour or so to kind of come to terms with what's just happened, but you were quite keen to get on with it tonight, weren't you, and get it filmed because you're understandably quite happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair to say.
Fair to say, I'm really pleased. Yeah. Leaving fantasy aside for a minute, I'm really pleased. I'm not.
So as usual, guys, we will do we always say this, about half an hour or so. We'll see. I mean, how emotional I am about this game right now. This could be just an hour of raging about Liverpool, but we'll see. We're going to try and do half an hour. We're going to review the game week that we've just seen. Everything from, Friday night seems like an eon ago now, doesn't it, frankly? The West Ham game, I can't even remember what happened. And then all what happened on Saturday, which was just shocking FPL moment after shocking FPL moment with, Pep's rotation, Okazaki scoring, Tammy Abraham blanking. Sterling not playing. It was just Jones went off injured. So Saturday was just a howler of an FPL day. And then we get to today. Those of you with Arsenal assets, fair play. Ozil's come to the party finally. Sanchez has come along and had a really good performance. Everton fans, how do you feel about that? It was terrible from your perspective. And then you go across Stanley Park, and actually on the red side of Merseyside, it's even worse. We'll talk about that game in just a second. So let's talk about our teams. You had a good game week, didn't you? Really good.
Well, yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've had an.
Talk to me about Okazaki.
I mean,
what has happened?
So
with
I'm
Okazaki?
actually really, really annoyed about fantasy this week.
You're really annoyed.
I'm really annoyed.
How many points have you got?
I've got 65.
You're really annoyed. Okay, good.
I tell you why I'm really annoyed. If I'd have done nothing this week, if I'd have just sat on my bum and not looked at it, I would have had 36 more points than I've had.
More than 65? 90 odd?
Yes. Do you know why? Because I did Okazaki, 9 points. To Tammy Abraham, 2 points.
That's your own fault. We said this on the last video. You can't... You brought him in, shipped him out before he even played, and then, alright, he didn't play the last game, which is a bit of an anomaly. All of a sudden he's played 9 points. It looks like you want to get him. He's switching Abraham. Have you already done Abraham to Okazaki? You're about to tell me you've already done it, haven't you?
No. And then, to make matters worse today, I do Sterling, who doesn't play yesterday. I did this last minute. I did it at 6:30 on Friday night. I did Ali to Sterling. Sterling, 0 points. Ali, 9 points. So that's annoyed me, right? Then I make the decision that this week...
You need to bring your voice down an octave. It's only cats can hear you at the moment. Go on.
How horrible you are.
Go on.
This week, I decided not to captain Harry Kane. Game week 9. It's the first time I've not captained Harry Kane. I captained Silva.
You've done it every single week, haven't you? Every single week.
Every single week. So I am... Yes, I've got 65 points. Yes, that's probably double what you've got. However...
Yeah, rub it in.
However, I'm still really annoyed about it. So I don't know what I'm going to do next week. I'm not doing anything. This week, I promise, I will not do anything until after the Carabao.
We've got Carabao Cup, haven't we? Yeah. So, despite that tale of woe, you're on 65, which actually...
It's all right.
It's pretty good. I don't know what the averages are. The game week's still updating, so we'll hopefully by the end of this video we'll know. Would you like an even sadder tale of woe? So I'm sitting on... What am I on? So 37, but I've got Tom Carroll to come on with 2, which, by the way, guys, I'm counting every point this game week. So I think I've got a grand total of 39. I had Jones with one because
Yeah, I did that
he went off with his injury. Ericsson didn't get anything in your colossal haul where everybody seems to have chipped in except Ericsson. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt since he came in for me last week, so I'm not thinking about shipping him out anytime soon. Sterling and Jesus obviously didn't play, but my biggest thing was that as I was driving home from work on that Friday evening, stuck in the traffic on the M25, I was so upset with life, just contemplating what am I doing with my life, sitting in the rain on the M25. I just rage transferred Vardy and Kane out for Morata and Jesus, which is looking pretty shocking. Which is looking pretty shocking.
You rage transfer out the best player arguably in the Premier League.
Oh man.
And you're having a go at me for Okazaki.
And I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking our away record is terrible, we can't defend, which clearly happened again today, and I'm taking Kane out for Morata. Oh, it's just making me feel really ill even talking about it. So I'm looking at my team next week, and I'm thinking actually Morata and Jesus for next game week don't look too bad. I think Morata's got Bournemouth, and I think Jesus has got West Brom, and he's had his rest now, so it don't look too bad, I don't think. But I've missed the 16 points. I've missed Kane's points.
Oh... See, I obviously had Otamendi this week, which was lovely. And Silva I won't get rid of because I think he's pretty nailed on in Pep's teams. But now I've got this question mark in my mind about Sterling. Like now he's been dropped once. Obviously they've got the Carabao Cup this week, so who's playing in that? Who's going to play at the weekend? I presume that Sterling's had his rest. He's going to play again from now on. But it's just so frustrating.
Who knows? So we can only start at Wembley, can't we? I think that is the only place to start. We've already done 6 of our allotted 30 minutes, so in 2 or 3 minutes, let's try and talk about that game. Let's go with the positive angle first and talk about what you liked about the Spurs' performance.
Well,
from an FPL perspective, everybody chipping in, right?
From
Except
an FPL
Ericsson.
perspective, yeah. So some your Spurs assets all come into the fore this week, like you say, apart from Ericsson. Obviously, a lot of people would have had Davies still in their team. He didn't play this weekend.
Yeah. So do you think he's now? People will leave him en masse now because he's suddenly he's got to be a big rotation risk.
No,
Rose is coming back too. So.
Well, I don't know. I think the reason he didn't play this week was because he's been ill all week. That's why I didn't travel to Madrid.
Okay.
I think from what Pochettino said at the beginning of the game, Davies didn't play because he was still not 100%.
So if you had him, you'd keep?
Well, given our game...
Because I think Davies to Otamendi is going to be one of the most popular transfers of the week. I think people will be getting all over that. I can
understand people doing that because I'd be frustrated, I think, if I had Davies
definitely.
now.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you look at it from the other angle, for leaving him aside. Trippier today assisting, so he's getting points. Ali's stepping up to the plate finally, getting some points from him.
Yeah.
Obviously, Harry Kane with his brace today.
What did you make of his little... he went off on 88 and he was kind of holding his hamstring. I think we've just read, haven't we, online that Pochettino's come out and said it's nothing. He's just a bit tired after Madrid, so I think we're okay with that.
We're fine. Okay with that. I don't expect to see Kane midweek in the cup. I would expect Llorente to play midweek.
I'd agree. I think he'd give him a rest. For sure.
I think he'll get a rest against West Ham in midweek. But I'm really pleased with Spurs' performance today. I think you did exactly what we needed. You turned up and tried to play football against us, and that's what we need. A lot of people have been coming to Wembley and just shutting up shop. That's why the likes of Bournemouth and Burnley actually did well against us. But yeah, I think you did what you needed to, and then just 2 stupid decisions from Lovren within the first 12 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not spend too much time on it and get too emotional, but yeah, I mean, it was just it was a horror show. It was an absolute horror show. The game was over within 30 minutes, which was difficult for me to take because I sat here on the last vlog thinking actually that we had a pretty good chance of beating you. We come off the back of a very confidence-building result. And actually, a couple of the pundits, Neville, etc., were saying before the game that they kind of fancied us today. And, if you take out the individual errors, I don't think we were too bad. But those individual errors are coming round more and more often. And it's the same people, right? It's Mignolet on the 3rd goal. It's Lovren on the first 2.
What's really frustrating from a neutral perspective watching Liverpool is I look at your forward players and they are fantastic. They are great fantasy assets, but they must be livid every week.
yeah.
They must be going out onto the pitch thinking we've got to score 3 in order to compensate for the idiots at the back who are going to keep making all of these decisions.
But what's happening in training every single day? Those defenders are playing those forwards, so you'd think that they would improve, but they just don't seem to. But I don't think it's their overall ability. I just think it's a mental thing. It's a concentration thing. They just don't seem to be able to concentrate and cut out those individual errors. But anyway, look, this is all by the by. This is all Liverpool the good stuff rather than FPL
I
stuff.
suppose if we go from a FPL point of view, Salah at least picking up some points today.
Yeah, and he looked dangerous, right? So I think you'd keep him. Yeah, if you got him.
Coutinho the same. I thought he looked a threat.
Yeah, going forward, I haven't got an issue with us going forward.
I don't think anyone's got any Liverpool defenders, surely, in the Premier League. In the game.
I wouldn't have thought so. But again, Moreno. I mean, I've sat here and slated Moreno many times, but actually, we've lost 4-1, so it's hard to praise him. But again, didn't look too bad. There's a couple where he made a bit of a mistake, but he kind of regained possession, or he put a bit of a shift in. It was individual errors from Lovren in this case, and being hauled off after 30 minutes. I mean, that's just embarrassing. And then Mignolet on the 4th goal. Chan didn't need to foul Ali for the 3rd goal. It's just individual errors, and there's a lot of questions that have got to be answered now. But if you're thinking about investing in the Liverpool defence from an FPL perspective, you need to think again. That's the first thing to say. Despite the decent fixture list that we've got coming up, actually at home, I saw some stats. We've conceded 1 goal at home. So actually at home, we're beginning to make Anfield a bit of a fortress. But away, it's just terrible. So yeah, stay away from Liverpool defensive assets if you're not already. You should be, I think continue to invest up front. If you've got Salah, you keep it.
Okay, so I've got Firmino still.
So that's really interesting for me. So what are you doing with Firmino?
Well, so part of my decision with the Ali Sterling transfer was because I wanted the money, as I've been talking about for weeks, to do Morata. So I've now got the money in the bank to do Firmino to Morata.
Yeah.
But I actually watched you today and thought, Firmino, he looks... I still think there's potential with him. I still do. It's a really tough one. Yeah. I don't know what to do with him. I really don't.
And again, if you look at the Liverpool fixtures, right, and the fixtures look pretty good. Huddersfield at home next game week, then West Ham away, Southampton at home, then a tough game against Chelsea at Anfield though, and then Stoke away. So actually not looking too bad on the ticker.
So what do I do? Like I'm now in a real quandary with Firmino, because I keep thinking, I'm going to get him out, but then I don't know.
All right, that's enough about that game then. Enough about that game. Yeah, send us your thoughts on not just Firmino but your Liverpool players below, guys. I think if you've got Salah, you keep him. If I had Firmino, I think I'd be keeping, but then
Morata's got Bournemouth.
Morata's got a nice game coming up, right?
Okay, well, let's go back to Friday night. Let's rewind before the rage transfers and all that.
I don't know if we've got time to pick on every game here, if we, or should we just pick out the key FPL stuff?
Yeah, we can have just a quick flip.
I want to talk about Chelsea. We've got plenty to talk about there.
I think in terms of the West Brom and in terms of that West Ham game, I just want to say I was surprised. I was expecting West Ham to be much more solid at the back than they were.
Yeah, me too.
And I was last week in our last vlog saying, get on the West Ham assets at the back. So I was really shocked to see that on Friday night.
It looked like they shored things up recently, but
then this happened. So strange one.
Pascal Gross in the points again for Brighton, another assist for him, and Glenn Murray up top, I think, bagging 2 goals. I don't think he's going to be in one of your coveted front 3.
Having said that, someone triple captained him. Did you see that?
Oh God, that's just
luck.
That guy, I don't know what he's doing. Come on, I mean, says me, sitting there 37 points, having just had an absolutely terrible game week. Doesn't know what he's doing, that guy. I don't think much else to say about that game.
No, I just wanted to mention it from a West Ham point of view, because I still think that there are opportunities there with the West Ham defenders, because I do think that it just seems odd.
Watching brief, I think. Yeah. Watching brief.
Obviously, then let's talk about Chelsea.
Yeah, go on.
So Chelsea 4, Watford 2.
Now, given that scoreline, do you think Chelsea were lucky to come away with 3 points there?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
I think they absolutely were.
I think Watford can look at that game and feel quite hard done by to have not taken anything from
100%.
it.
Was it on TV? I remember watching it.
No, watched it on Match of the Day.
Oh, Match of the Day. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we did watch it. It was a Saturday lunchtime game.
Saturday lunchtime, indeed. So for me, they could easily have been 4-1 down in that game, Chelsea. Absolutely could have been. And Richarlison, I think he looks the business for me. He's definitely one that's on my radar for one to get in for next game week, because the fixtures for Watford look good.
Next vlog.
Absolutely, we'll do the radar next video. But Richarlison looked really good again. A handful for Chelsea all afternoon. and what not for a couple of really poor finishes. Could have been 4-1 Watford. They could have been out of sight. And it was at that point, I think, Conte changed the system. Morata had a poor game. He was very, very on the periphery of that game. Brought Batshuayi on. I didn't think that was going to change much. What do I know? And he changed the system. He brought Willian on. And tactically, they then got back into the game and they went on to win. So fair play to Conte. He's obviously picked up on something there. But he's very lucky, I think, not to have lost or at least been 4-1 down in that game.
I agree. I mean, I think... So I watched that expecting, and we talked about how we thought Watford would give Chelsea a game. I did expect Chelsea to eventually win it, which is what happened.
Do you think there's any risk that Morata doesn't play next game because of Batshuayi's performance? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
He
didn't have a good game, did he, Morata? But I think, I think he's going to play him.
They're in the cup. They're in the cup.
Yes,
I
they
expect
are.
to see Batshuayi in the cup.
Well, they are home to Everton. Given the way Everton are playing right now, you've got to think that there might be some rotation there from a Chelsea perspective.
I would expect to see Batshuayi then.
Quite possibly, yeah, quite possibly. Be interesting in that game because if he plays Morata and gives him 90, I think you're sweating a little bit. But I expect him to put Batshuayi on. Yeah,
I think
right.
And from a personal fantasy point of view, I'm also now thinking about Alonso. He's taken up a lot of money, and I'm now thinking rather than doing the upgrade on from Firmino to Morata, actually maybe I stick on that I keep the money in the bank and stick on it for a while. But maybe I'd actually do a downgrade there because there are some other really good options at the back, and Alonso's getting me nothing week in week out, and he's 7.
So do you think, and I mean this could be a 30-minute subject in itself, but do you think that this whole focus, if you like, this swing in FPL this year towards wing-backs as a real option and everybody kind of draining the midfield of money and having wing-backs like Davies and Azpilicueta and your man there Alonso and people like that and Kolasinac, do you think that kind of phase is over now? Because a lot of those guys aren't returning, and I can see the feeling I get on Twitter is that era is kind of gone now. And people are looking to put money back into the Richarlisons and what have you in the middle. Maybe.
I think, I've played this all along. I've played it with money in the back, money in the middle, and a little bit of money up front, mostly in Kane.
Because you've always played with 2 and a cheapie up top, haven't you?
Yeah. So my money's always been sort of fairly evenly distributed throughout my team. But I am now thinking, actually, I've got people like Otamendi,
he's a great shout, by the way. I think he looks great.
And Bertrand, and people like that are constantly ticking me over points at the back. And then I've got Alonso, who's a lot more expensive than these guys.
Yeah.
Who's doing me nothing.
Yeah, totally.
So for me...
At either end of the pitch, actually, because Chelsea are conceding as well. Right?
Exactly. So they're not kept a clean sheet for ages. So I'm currently thinking, right, well, do I... And I think this is going to be my transfer this week. I just don't know who it's going to be to yet. But I think I'm going to be taking him down to somebody who's in about the 5.5-ish area.
What are you thinking? You got your eye on anybody?
No, not really yet. I need to sit down and think about it and look at the fixtures coming up. And
got
work
a Saints
out.
defender?
Yeah, I've got Bertrand.
Oh, okay, I was going to say Van Dijk, but if you've got Bertrand, no, probably not.
So yeah, I need to just have a little think about where I'm going with that. Potentially, I even may go. Well, not this week because we've got Man United, but I even may go Spurs because I've now only got Kane. So
yeah, sure.
But yeah, so that's something I'm thinking about.
Okay. So FPL wise, Morata didn't do the business. I think Hazard popped up with a couple of assists did okay, didn't he? Batshuayi was clearly the one to have in that game. Not that I think he's much. He's very well owned, right?
But no, because he didn't start. So I think a lot of people had got off of him, thinking Morata's back.
Yeah. And those of you who got Azpilicueta in last week, fair play, because you obviously dodged the own goal from a couple of weeks ago, and then he's popped up and got the goal this week. So I think maybe Alonso to Azpilicueta saves you a bit of money, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I did think about that, but then at the same time, I don't trust Chelsea's defending at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I said. Not keeping clean sheets, are they?
But yeah, I mean, Azpilicueta might pop up with a goal every now and then, but he's not keeping clean sheets. So I do want a defender that can attack, but also primarily their job is to defend. So I would like one that's going to tick me over 6 points every week.
And Watford, Richarlison, I think the one to go for.
And Decore with another goal.
Decore's like this is Capoue, isn't he? He keeps popping up with goals out of nowhere. And again, great finish at the weekend. Just come up to him outside of the foot. I thought he kind of shanked it wide, but actually he sort of popped it in the near post, didn't he? Beat Courtois there. So if you're splashing out, I think maybe splashing out 6 point whatever it is, Richarlison, it's not really a splash out. But if you really want to save money, then Decore, not a bad shout maybe.
No.
Okay.
We can skirt over Leicester and Okazaki, surely. We don't even need to mention that. Moving on.
To be fair though, that was a bit of an unexpected result again. I mean, we were sat here and we said, what sort of reaction are we going to get from Leicester? Because when Ranieri left, we did get a reaction from Leicester. Even like I think Riyad Mahrez had another good game.
Well, I said that
at the
to you,
weekend,
didn't I,
so
at the end of the game.
Maybe he's looking to impress the new manager potentially. Yeah,
Mahrez gone off into the mire, not done anything for weeks, and then
funny guy,
manager gets sacked, and all of a sudden he puts himself back in the window again.
Yeah, it's almost like when he's got to play for his popularity or he's looking for a transfer or something, he'll play. But on any other game week, he's kind of drifts in and out of games. But that's 2 game weeks now where he's played very, very well, Mahrez, in my opinion, and he's got FPL returns, so definitely one to have a look at. Given that Leicester, I think, go to
got some
Everton.
nice fixtures.
So Leicester going to Everton next, who are getting spanked left, right and centre.
Should I do an Okazaki back again?
Well, I don't think we go there. But, I mean, I'm now looking at my Vardy out and thinking, well, was that a very good idea? Because he missed one at the weekend. Should have scored. It was a good save by the keeper he was playing, who I forget, the Swansea Fabianski. So I think if you're on a Leicester City attacking asset, like an Okazaki or a Vardy, I think you now stick. Because Everton at home... I mean, you got to fancy them there, and then they go to Stoke, and it toughens up after that with kind of home to City and Spurs amongst others. But I fancy them for the Everton game,
Talking about other surprises, then
Go on.
Bournemouth beating Stoke.
What's going on at Stoke?
Did not
What's
see
going
that
on at
come.
Stoke?
The only thing that I can say is that obviously Stoke Juve again getting their goal. So if you did get the Choupo-Moting's and the Juves, I think
So Choupo-Moting assist and a Juve goal, wasn't it? So
yeah.
they're both
So
returning.
I still think that they were a good call on the radar last week, and I still think that they're good assets to have because Stoke's fixtures are nice.
Yeah, the fixtures do look good, although they as a team I'm not sure. I mean, getting smashed 7-2 at City is not going to do your confidence any good, is it?
No.
And then you come home and you play a home game against Bournemouth, and actually, the likes of Sturman and Stanislas, actually, who I thought had a very, very good game. And I looked at his stats after the game. Not that I'm thinking yet of investing in any Bournemouth assets, because I just don't think we've seen enough of them yet. But again, if you look at the run that they've got coming up, they've got to play home to Chelsea, so that's tricky. But after that, Newcastle, Huddersfield, Swansea, Burnley. So after the Chelsea game, if we get a decent performance out of Bournemouth against Chelsea, maybe Stanislas is one to have a look at, or maybe Charlie Daniels comes back onto the radar.
Oh well, I do love Charlie Daniels as a fantasy asset.
Oh yeah, had him in your team the whole of last year, didn't you?
Never left my team. Never left it last year.
So I think we'll update the radar when we do our second video of the week. But I'm potentially putting it out there. Maybe the likes of Stanislas, maybe King and people like that from Bournemouth. Maybe
Defoe. If he's fit.
He's kind of in and out of the team, isn't he? And a bit kind of unfit. But keep an eye on the Bournemouth assets. That was a good result for them at Stoke, I thought, the weekend.
Okay, Newcastle and Palace. Now, I wasn't surprised to see Palace lose this game. I think Newcastle's a difficult place to go to.
I think you can feel a bit hard done by if you're a Palace fan, because they really were grinding out that point up there, and that'd have been a solid result for them going to St James's and getting a point. So to lose in the 87th minute in the way they did was a bit unlucky.
But yeah, somehow to me, I wasn't surprised when Newcastle won the game. I was expecting a Newcastle victory in that game. But yeah, Palace, Zaha. I think Zaha is the only Palace asset at the moment. I can't see that there's any value in anybody else up there. But I think if you've got the money to invest it in Zaha.
So I've still got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and he started on the bench at the weekend, which was another tale of woe from my game week. I would be surprised if Hodgson doesn't start playing him. It seemed to lack a bit of threat at the weekend, and maybe that was Hodgson's plan, was to go up there and try and keep it tight, not attack too much, try and soak up the Newcastle pressure and hit them on the break with Zaha's pace. I think that was kind of the key tactic.
Yeah.
I would expect and I would hope that Hodgson's a bit more ambitious than that. Hodgson. I've just used Hodgson and ambitious in the same sentence.
Who have they got next?
So they got West Ham at home next, and that's the game I've always thought that they're going to target for 3 points. Then they've got to go to Wembley. Then they've got home to Everton and Stoke. So outside of that Wembley game, the next 4 actually look very, very good for Palace. So I for sure will be sticking on Loftus-Cheek for now, hoping that he plays.
Well, he's also very cheap, so he's not taking up any budget.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I've got a bit of a plan to get Richarlison in this game week, which I'll talk about in our next vlog. And it means sacrificing one of my 2 4.5s. And if I've got to choose between Carroll and Loftus-Cheek, it will be Carroll that goes for sure.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that next video.
All right. City doing their usual business, nicely sweeping up 3 points. just Pep is just the most frustrating manager in the world for a fantasy manager, isn't
You
he?
could just hear the groans all over Twitter, right? At 2:00, whenever it was that the team sheet was announced, because
so many people had captained Sterling or Jesus.
Yeah. And probably right. And Jesus, okay, I think he did play more or less the whole game, didn't he, against Napoli?
He did, yeah.
So, all right, we maybe expected his minutes to be curtailed somewhat, but with Sterling, I think he bought Did he bring Sterling off early, or did he maybe didn't have the full 90, if you like, against Napoli? So we're all sitting here thinking, well, he's going to start, therefore, at the weekend against Burnley. We'll captain him. A lot of us captained him, and rightly so, in my opinion. And then he just drops him straight to the bench.
And it's very frustrating because like I said, I was livid when that happened, because having bought him in at 6:30 on Friday night, I bought him in because I thought, he's going to play. So he's going to play. It's a nice game against Burnley. Lovely. And then...
Yeah, City look irresistible again, don't they? I mean, I don't think we need to dwell too much on their FPL assets because... or maybe we do, because it's so hard to choose one. I think you need them. You definitely need Man City players. It's just who do you have?
Well, you've got to look... So you've got to look at Sané. Goal and an assist this week. Otamendi,
he's our second highest score in the game, isn't he, Sané or something? It's like,
so you've got to be
not
looking
even a regular starter. It's bonkers.
So, but now he is seeming to be a bit more consistent in the team.
Yeah, but as soon as he gets a little run, Pep will rest him, right?
And I just can't. Oh, I don't know. So I think I've been fairly lucky so far in that Pep doesn't seem to rest Silva or Otamendi, so I haven't had to deal with his.
I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on with those two. I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. He's not rotating those two.
No. So although Silva did nothing for me and he was annoyingly my captain this week, that could have gone any which way because he was always I think it's just a bit unlucky really. But yeah, now I'm a bit uneasy about the Sterling thing now, because now I know that he's got the potential to be rested. It just puts a bit of a fear in me.
But I think you go with what we said on the last vlog, which is you kind of make peace with the fact that he is going to be rested at some stage. He's not going to get 90 minutes every game week. But when he does play, he's probably going to get returns. Now, he didn't play at all at the weekend, so you've got to assume he's either going to play... Are they still in the Carabao Cup? Let's have a look at this. Home to Wolves on Tuesday. So, what's going to be really frustrating is looking at that Pep Guardiola team sheet on Tuesday. If Sterling gets 90 minutes, we're all sitting here going, what? What the hell? Because you assume that he's going to start on the bench against West Brom when they get to West Brom next game week in game week 10. Or maybe, Jesus plays the whole game against Wolves and suddenly it's like, well, maybe he gets a rest and you just think, Pep, it's so annoying.
It's so tough, right? Because... I did the swap for Ali, and now my heart aches when I take a Spurs player out of my fantasy team. It really does.
Especially when they then deliver.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So part of me really wants to go, right, okay, let's get back in. And it might not necessarily be Ali, but it could be Eriksen, or even Sonny, but he seems to be playing all the time at the moment.
You're going to Old Trafford next, aren't you?
Well, I'm not doing it now.
Okay.
I'm certainly not going to do it now. I'm going to wait and see what happens with Pep and Sterling. But if it becomes a regular thing that he's being rotated, I think I'll lose him again.
Okay, all right. So City assets, you need them. We're just not sure which ones.
Yeah. Okay. Big shock of the weekend, I think, really was at Huddersfiled.
Yeah. Fair play to David Wagner's boys. They put a shift in. I remember watching it on Match of the Day. They wanted it more. They were first to the ball. They were getting to those 50-50s before United. And United, again, we said it last time, they look, less dynamic without Pogba. And dare I say it, they miss Fellaini as well. They miss something in the middle of that midfield. A bit of steel that those two give them and a bit of creativity. Lukaku, again, looked a bit isolated. So the guys weren't getting up alongside him. So what
are you going to do about Lukaku?
Do you know what? I don't know. I think... I don't know. I mean, because I haven't got Kane now, I'm wondering whether Lukaku back to Kane is the right thing to do, but I've got to find $1 million from somewhere to do that.
Okay.
And that's not readily available in my team right now. So I'm thinking I'll probably keep him for the Spurs game. And then they've got this. What's the game after that? Oh, Chelsea away. Goodness me, yeah. So he's got a couple of games you've got to see out before you then get to Newcastle and Brighton and Hove Albion at home. So I think you'd want him for those two games. We've got an international break coming up. I think the original news was that Pogba was due back in that international break. So I want to see what happens with Pogba coming back. To be honest, I think I'm sticking with him for now on the basis that There's other stuff I want to do to my team. Like I really want Richarlison. I really, really want to manufacture Richarlison in somehow over the next 3 or 4 days. I want to see how they get on. Are they still in the Carabao Cup? Let's have a look. I can't see them playing, so potentially not. But look, I think this kid is mustard, and I really want him in to the point where if the Jones injury is bad, I'm thinking of ditching Jones for somebody, maybe a real cheapie, so that I can do a Tom Carroll up to Richarlison.
I don't think there's been word on Jones yet, has there?
No, and if he's not got a bad injury, then I'm probably going to keep because he's highly owned and he's good value, I think.
Yeah.
But if he's got a bad injury with those Man United fixtures, I'm looking to maybe ditch him. So to answer your question, I don't really know right now. I think he's a problem because he's blanked a couple now. But in FPL this year, every time I take somebody out, they seem to perform. So I'm thinking,
yeah, leave him in then for next week. Because I don't want him doing anything against.
Well, this is it. He's playing Spurs next game week, and again, you're the sort of team that are not going to park the bus at Old Trafford.
So
you're going to go up there and play. That might play into his hands. I think Spurs can absolutely get something from that game. Absolutely, they will give United a proper game, if not win the game. But I can see United scoring in that game. And if they do, then it could be Lukaku. Well, this is it. Pretty good chance it is.
I tell you what would be interesting though, won't it, from a fantasy point of view, to see Kane and Lukaku playing against each other, because it will give you a good understanding of where possibly where you go moving forward.
Yeah, and let's see, they've got to go to Swansea as well in Tuesday, United in the Carabao Cup. So let's see if Lukaku plays there. He just looked a bit leggy and a bit lethargic, I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a good question. Those of you that have got Lukaku, tell us what you're doing. Go to @FPL Family on Twitter and Instagram and let us know, because he's a bit of a dilemma for me at the minute. A bit of a dilemma. But
okay.
So my thinking for this game week is, what do I want to do more? Lukaku out or Richarlison in? And at the minute, I really want Richarlison. So Lukaku
I don't blame you for that. I would
may get a bit of a stay of execution.
Okay.
Other games where we've got some good FPL interest?
Absolutely no surprise that the Southampton West Brom game was dull.
It was until 87 minutes or whenever it was that Boufal scored, because that was a hell of a goal.
It was a hell of a goal.
Did you see it? That was a real goal.
However, the rest of the game was dull as dishwasher, as predicted. I don't think there's much to say other than if you've got Southampton defenders, which most of us have, I think you stick on them.
Yeah, Foster's knee didn't seem too much of an issue because I think he played that game. So
yeah, he did play the game and was on for bonus points, wasn't he? Until he conceded.
Let's talk about this next one you've got written down. There's Everton 2, Arsenal 5. There's far more going on in that game for us to discuss.
Okay, so unsurprised by the result in terms of an Arsenal victory, because Everton are not great lately.
True, but Arsenal
I am surprised at the level of victory. I could have seen Arsenal nicking it by a goal, 1-0.
I think the red card had a lot to do with that.
It did.
And it was a silly red card because he got his second yellow. He was in the middle of the pitch. He probably didn't need to make that tackle.
What I was surprised,
Gay, to be honest.
What I was surprised with was how Everton kind of, given that they were in front during this game, they seemed to give up before the red card even happened. It was like. And
I think it was the anxiety thing, wasn't it? It was the bit like, as soon as Arsenal scored, they were a bit like, oh God, we've conceded a goal, and the crowd got on their back and they got a bit panicky. And I think the goal, the Arsenal goal, actually, the first one was Monreal, wasn't it? Came a little bit out of nothing.
It did.
And you've got all these players on the pitch. Like, it's the first time that Ozil and Sanchez and Lacazette had all played together up front. And, Nacho Monreal breaks the Arsenal deadlock. It was very odd. So those of you that got Monreal, fair play.
But it did then open the score sheet for all of those guys. Ozil scored the second, Lacazette scoring the third, Sanchez with the last. All of them also getting assists, apart from Lacazette. Ramsey scoring, getting an assist. All of those people that
So Swansea at home next for Arsenal. You getting some Arsenal players?
Maybe.
So let me just run you through their fixtures. So Swansea at home, but then away at City, home to Spurs, away at Burnley, which is a tough game, and then home at Huddersfield. So
I just think that with Arsenal at the moment,
mixed bag.
Yeah, and they are a mixed bag themselves, not just in terms of the fixtures they've got coming up, but in terms of their performances. I think you're right. I think that looking at that scoreline, they looked like they were fantastic.
Everton were poor.
But Everton were terrible.
Were really bad.
And the red card allowed Arsenal to run free a bit. It allowed them to have those opportunities. And I think, yes, you're seeing all of the Arsenal assets. If you've got them, I'd stick on them. Am I in a rush to get some of them? I don't know. It's only been 1 week of them playing together. I would want to see, if it happens again next week, Potentially, yes.
Okay. Any other big FPL news that we need to discuss from this game week?
I don't think so. I think we've covered.
I think it's pretty much it, isn't it? The Pep rotation, and we've got a little bit of Arsenal assets, Chelsea and Watford. Watford were unlucky that game. What's this game here? 3-0. Oh, West Ham Brighton. It seems a long time ago, that game, doesn't it?
Seems
like an age ago.
But no, I think I think we are where we are with it. I think there wasn't any major injuries either this game week. So what will be interesting now to see is the teams that have got cup action in the week. Do they play full strength teams? If they do those players make it through? So we'll film our second vlog at the end of Wednesday's fixtures. Yeah,
so Wednesday there's a couple of good games actually. Chelsea, Everton, and then Spurs, West Ham on Wednesday the 25th in the Carabao Cup. So there's a couple of good games there. I can see some heavy rotation. I think, particularly from Chelsea. I think from Spurs too. I think there will playing West Ham at home in the cup. I think there's going to be some rotation. But he will want to win, and he will want to get a trophy under his belt if he can, for sure. For sure. You going to that game, by the way?
No, the week after Real Madrid.
Oh, blimey. You going to that? Good effort. All right, nice. All right, guys, I think that's it for tonight. Look out for
we just need to briefly talk about the league because it has updated. And
go on,
did mention it. So...
Deshwell at the top again.
Yeah.
Deshwell Grunewald with Boys United. 5-7-8. He's got quite a lead, actually, because there's 30 points until you get to Vic Odudu with Vic DNA. And then we've got 5-4-5 and 5-4-3. So 2 to 5 is quite tough. But Boys United, Deshwell Grunewald with 5-7-8 is looking pretty good, top of the shop. What's his game week like this week? Actually, a bit average, 44. Walker, Cedric, Choupo-Moting, Salah, Lukaku captain. So not an amazing week actually this week. So how did Vic get on? Vic got 62. So he will be closing the gap.
Closing the gap.
Closing the gap a little bit. There, closing the gap. All right, guys. I think we are done. Look out for our next video, which will be
so we'll film Wednesday night
preview.
So it should be up Thursday.
Yeah, preview for the next game week coming up, which is game week 10 in FPL. Game week 10 already like a quarter of the way through the season. It's crazy. And we will film that, like you say, on Wednesday night probably. We'll probably upload it on Thursday. For now, well done to you, Kane captainers. Put your scores, put your teams underneath in the comments below. Unless you're like me and you got in the 30s, then just...
Move on
to next game week. That's it from me. Keep following us at FPL Family on Twitter and at FPL Family on Instagram. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave your comments below, guys. And until next time, it's good night from me.
And me.
Good night. Cheers.
Take care.